seems to have maybe a short fuse. Maybe he was just cold.
Mm.
I don't know.
Welcome to amorephillyunion, where good things come in threes. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul.
And of course, I'm talking about the union's record, not necessarily the number of hosts, but hey, if it fits, it fits.
That's right.
Yeah. Just the headline on MLS's website today about Vancouver and Philly just defying expectations. And while I might agree with the wording of that, if you asked me 4 weeks ago, I expected us to be 3-0 and all this great stuff happening. I don't know if I said I expect that to happen, but I'm sure as heck happy that it's happening.
Absolutely.
So you absolutely did not say that.
Yeah, we were absolutely not saying that. I believe we have some audio evidence of maybe a slightly reserved
Play the tape.
opinion of what might be happening. I remember the Cincinnati game, like this is going to be the test, right? And I mean, these are tests. I'm not trying to brush anything under the.
I mean, every match is, right? You never know.
Is.
Any given Sunday,
but holy cow, look where we are.
Any given game day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, but you never know. All right, well, let's jump right into this past weekend's game. Union traveled up to
New England.
Gillette Stadium to face off against the New England Revolution.
The boys from Foxborough.
Foxborough, yeah. And sitting pretty low on the table.
And it was truly New England weather. We had talked last week about, it being March and you never know. But I did check just out of curiosity. And it was apparently about 30 degrees near the start of the game. And I'm sure it felt quite a bit colder. So
especially with that wind.
Mm-hmm.
They did have a graphic up at one point during the game that it was 29 degrees or -2 degrees Celsius. And you could actually see the wind as the guys would be walking around or standing still, and their shirts were just rippling across them, and not because of their muscles. It was just just because of the wind.
They weren't Arsenal tight jerseys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
they're not Arsenal tight, but they're close.
Yeah, they're pretty
for some of them. But yeah, it was definitely cold, and it was so cold that every single one of the Union players, and I think all of these, actually, just all 22 starting players, I believe, were all wearing long sleeves. I know Maxi Urruti came on without short sleeves, and Damiani came on with short sleeves on. Those two came on with short sleeves. Although I think they both had condescended to wear gloves.
Mm-hmm. They even have limits.
Okay,
thanks. But it was definitely would have been brutal out there. I'm sure the fans were well bundled.
Well, such as they were, because the stadium was actually pretty empty. And I didn't know if that was just weather.
It was kind of empty. I agree.
I mean, I know they've been having some challenging seasons too, so I'm sure it's a combination. But I was surprised at how few people. It looked like old MLS where you could buy a ticket for the rafters and then, for the second half, move down to the first or second row.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It was definitely sparse. Obviously the cold weather doesn't help, and the team not performing well through last season and then not opening the season particularly attractively. Caleb Porter is a good coach, and it's only a matter of time before he gets turned around, but not this week.
Yeah. I would say maybe a good place to start talking about this game is the lineup. And I think, Christy, you kind of you phrased it best. But remember, it's just like when they rolled out the lineup, you're like, oh. So, the idea that Carnell's going to be like playing, like, it's going to be hard to predict and all that stuff. It's like he rolled out the same lineup 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So much for any changes. It's pretty much, as far as I can see, it's pretty much the same. I don't know if you guys notice any differences, but it looks like the same folks.
Yeah, it was the same lineup as previous two games.
The trapezoid of death.
Right.
Trapezoid of death, the double pivot, and the back four, including the two young or new players, and then
Hmm.
Blake and net.
So
I just
clearly
think
didn't see
it's
anything in New England worthy of changing that formula for now, I guess. At least to start.
not
Hmm.
broke, don't fix it, I guess.
Right,
That's
One
exactly.
of
exactly
those.
right. Exactly
Yeah.
right. And yeah, so this first half, based on the first half, I just remember thinking like this has been, in my opinion, the toughest game so far this season, or at least in terms of how the
Mhm.
teams seem to be pitched against each other. It really felt fairly 50-50 for the first half. It was 0-0 at the half, and I was even thinking like, a 0-0 draw, I'll take it, you know.
Mhm.
I was gonna say it was a little weird not seeing the Union just absolutely dominating going into the half.
Funny how you get used to it after
Yeah.
2 weeks. I know, but like I was thinking the same, and I was just thinking, well, this is gonna be our draw, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no fluky thing that, if somebody just gets tired and we get scored on and there's something like that happens. A
Hmm.
legit goal is one thing, but it's just being tired or that kind of thing is always dispiriting. But going into the half, I really thought I think I even said to you I was smelling a draw
Yeah.
because they looked pretty evenly matched.
They did, but it was a different sort of a matchup in the first two games. This one, like the first two games, the Union just felt like they just swallowed up all of the attacks that both Orlando and Cincinnati started to generate.
Hmm.
They would press high like usual. Occasionally, the teams would find a way to pass around the press, but it felt like they never really got it developed into they never developed plays that quickly. They tried to go round side to side around the Union, whereas in this game, it felt like the Revs made some quick passes, but they also made the passes upfield. They got upfield in a hurry, so
Hmm.
it ended up being in my opinion, a very back and forth game,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
much more so than the previous two. Whereas the
Hmm.
Revs
Hmm.
obviously they didn't generate the shots that they probably would have liked to have generated, but they did um they did seem to find ways to work around the Union press and get it upfield in a hurry. So
Hmm.
it did make it much more back and forth, but the Union didn't seem to let that sweat them. They did stay with their game plan, and
Hmm.
it seemed to work. I mean, obviously it worked because yeah, maybe not in the first half, but the Union seemed to kind of get a real grip on the game in the second half.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I felt like when the second half started, um, we made the cameraman's job a little bit easier, and I felt like you only had to cover one half of the field more than the other half. Yeah, I just felt like the Union were doing a good job keeping the ball down on New England's end of the field. I mean, New England they were still dangerous, but it definitely felt like the momentum in the second half was flowing in the Union's direction.
When it wasn't in our half, did seem like the defenders got back, or there was
Hmm.
a solid defense happening because actually I credit We the Union, our friend Gabe, with
Hmm.
posting this and pointing this out, as well as Scoops. Actually, I'm not supposed to say that, but it's true. But he posted two pictures taken just a few seconds apart. And it was, one, it was like the ball was starting to head into our half.
Yep.
And there were a few, there were some players there. And just seconds later, had so many more had
Hmm.
fallen back and were in position. And maybe not more players, but in better positions. It would probably be a more accurate way to say it.
Hmm.
So, that was it was really interesting to see because definitely something that I know we said towards the end of last year needed to be shored up. So
Did you guys feel like this? I don't know. I just thinking about the game. It felt like the defensive line, particularly Macania and Lesnes, I felt like they were pushing up a lot more in this game. I don't know if they're trying to play that high defensive line. Mm. Because I remember there were.
I definitely made one note. I can't remember if it was when exactly it was in the game, but the two back lines, the lines of defenders from the Union to the Revs back line was maybe 25 yards apart. Like the ball was right around midfield. The Union back line was, in well inside the middle circle, and the Revs back line was just outside the middle circle on their end. And it was like, okay, so we've got 22 players, packed into 25 yards of the field. It was interesting to see that.
It's called close quarter soccer.
Yeah, seriously.
Or as my scoops, again, I'm
Oh,
gonna be in so much trouble, said that, does it seem to you like Glesnes is doing a lot more this year?
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
I
he's
said, yeah. Trying to make up for the two own goals last year.
She's got to just score two more this year just to clearly
Right. Cleanse the palate.
cleanse the palate. Yeah, clear the books.
Hmm.
Um, Before we get into the scoring, because it's nice to say we got to get into the scoring. Um, Gazdag did get an uncharacteristic yellow card. He doesn't seem one necessary to get him, but
Mm-mm.
um, I mean, I guess it was a deserved yellow.
Yeah, he seemed to be getting into it with some of the Rev players. And
Hmm.
like we talked about before the game, it was or before the recording, it was kind of a professional foul to take the guy down.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, you're going to get them from time to time. I don't
Yeah,
know if there was a little bit of frustration from a Gaj dog. I don't know if he'd been getting fouled by that guy a few times and decided just, you know what, I've had enough. You're going to the ground.
yeah, right. I have to
Um,
send a message.
mhm.
Like when Falco came back on the field in the last game
Sweet
of
Jesus. All right.
here,
Let me
cling,
start the tally. Hold
drink,
on.
everyone.
Okay, replacements. That's one mention. Go on.
This episode of Amorephillyunion is brought to you by, Captain Jack. When you're playing the replacements drinking game, why not try Captain Jack? Okay. Another thing of note, we had a couple subs before we start racking up any goals. Indiana Vassilev came in for Quinn Sullivan, and Damiani came in for Ura.
Oh, I feel like we should mention the very early sub. We didn't mention it in the first half, not for the Union, but for the Revs.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
6 minutes in,
yeah.
Campagna went in or went down after taking a shot. I don't know
Hmm.
if it was the weather and him being cold, and he just didn't feel. He felt like after he took the shot, something happened to his leg, but he was on
Yeah,
the ground for a little while. And then they had to make a sub for Maxi Urruti
yeah,
to come on. So yeah, it was. I know Campagna's name. He from his time at Miami, and he's a good player.
yeah,
But yeah, it was tough to see that happen.
yeah,
Sorry for him. Hopefully, it's nothing major. But yeah, so yeah, the Union did make subs. They actually made the subs before, yeah, like you were saying, before any goals were scored.
yeah. And I know last week, I think, at least I know my one prediction or hope for this game was, with Indiana being on the team, just how that mustache plays when there's a goal scored. So while he didn't score the goal, we did have some goals that he could celebrate. So let's talk about this first goal.
Hang on. Before we get there, when they made the subs, I was like, okay, well, Aura's coming out for Damiani. That was pretty clear. I honestly thought they were going to pull Gajdog for a sub, but they ended up pulling Quinn. And I know they're playing on turf. I honestly felt like, maybe the coach would want to just preserve Gajdog's legs a bit.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Were you guys at all surprised or just kind of watching the game and seeing what the coach did there?
Surprised by um
That
Indy for
Quinn would come
Quinn.
out.
Yeah, I guess now that you mentioned it, I was wondering. But again, these are the two that I was particularly wondering if we'd see more playing time from.
Mm.
True. Uh,
So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but I thought maybe that was he wanted to do the same. because he and I are like this. No, but
And for those
uh,
listening, she put her fingers together
Little
like
cross
yeah.
really
fingers.
close.
Thanks for translating for me. But yeah, so I was a little surprised, but that was my thought process. It was like, okay, yeah, these are the two we want to see what they can do, so in a nil-nil game,
Yeah,
I
I
guess
was
why not, but
okay. I mean,
that was just what I thought about it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and it was a little like for like a little bit, right? Kind of more
yeah,
of a service role as opposed to uh I mean Gazdag, he's kind of that attacking midfield, so he does serve, but he does have a nose for the goals as well. So but no, I do agree, Paul. It was a little bit like, I wonder why Sullivan's coming out. I mean, he still has plenty of gas in the tank.
yeah.
Right.
And it could be that, because he's just alternating in the games, which one he
Hmm.
pulls off first. That
Yeah.
certainly could make some sense. Or maybe there was some other reason that, he saw something in practice. He wanted to, just limit Quinn's time a little bit. But yeah, it just kind of caught me as a surprise that Quinn came out
Hmm.
in the 64th
Yeah.
minute when he's
Hmm.
run. I think he's run the full 90 both previous games.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, we all know he's good for it.
and I mean,
It's just
I mean, maybe it's Carnell, right? He's all for giving players a chance, and maybe Vassilev is showing some real chutzpah during practice, and he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna pull Quinn out at some point and let Vassilev get in there and see
yeah,
what
I
he
mean,
can
because
do.
he did pull Dog in the first game
Yeah,
against Orlando for
mm.
Cabin. So I guess it
yeah,
was Quinn's turn to get pulled early.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's jump to the game to the goal.
Well, maybe he's got a one Sullivan substitution policy, right? And yeah, so let's get to that goal.
Hey, you want to see a goal?
Hey, you want to see a goal?
Yeah, so I'll be the interpreter this
There you
time.
go.
If you if you haven't seen the union's socials, they managed to get a fan video. I guess they were someone who was right behind Kai when he took the corner kick that eventually resulted in this goal. And they weren't, I don't know if they were ribbing him a little
Yeah, it was
bit,
all good
maybe.
natured.
It was good
Mhm.
natured, but there was
Yeah,
it was a little, little
yeah,
little heckly.
sure.
But he just turned around and said, "Hey, you want to see a goal?" I mean, talk about nerve
Calling
and
a
calling
shot,
your
man.
shot. Yeah, I mean, it was just like,
I thought it was funny because his first cross into the box ends up getting cycled back out wide to him. And at that point the fans that are making the recording saying, see, it didn't happen. He's not gonna
mhm,
and then with
It
that he puts
crosses.
the second cross in.
mhm.
And I
And
guess
Yep.
too, the ball coming back out to Wagner before he crossed it back in. I think that must have been from Westfield because Westfield got he got attributed with an assist as well
did he
on that.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like Westfield to Wagner to Rebo's noggin.
To the right upright and into the back of the net.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
still
so
a Kai-Tai.
that's right. Another
Oh, the
Kai-Tai.
Kai-Tai. Absolutely the Kai-Tai.
And Ty got the ball down. It seemed to actually kind of sort of bounce off a defender and then off the inside of the right
Hmm.
upright and into the back of the net. Really good play by Ty to get up on the inside of that
Hmm.
defender like he did.
Yeah.
And then, just keep putting himself in dangerous positions and good things happen.
Yeah.
And with
And
that goal, then Ty became only the second person in MLS history to score 6 goals in the first 3 games of a season
unbelievable.
since 1999 when Ante Razov did it.
Man.
And as of Saturday, he had more goals himself than 21 teams in MLS,
Oh man.
which is remarkable. I mean, what a stat.
Yeah. I mean, I know these are early days, but man, these stats are
Sure.
just so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Well, now I
Uh,
need to go check and see how many are out there now. You keep talking. I'll go pull up the standing.
so yeah, that Baribo goal, it was a bit of relief. Not that I was worried. I mean,
Mm.
at this point, again, the momentum felt like it was on Union side. I was still, negotiating with the soccer gods, like, hey, I'll be happy with the draw. But getting that goal just really, kind of took the pressure off, and it just lit the flame of hope. Like, all right,
Mhm.
we could be 3-0 here with this game.
Mhm.
And by the way, it's still 21 teams.
Is it still? I didn't know. It changed on Sunday.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
that is insane.
Wow, wow, wow. Good on him. Yeah, so as you're saying, that was the 76th minute when Ty scored that one.
Mhm.
There was no threat of offsides. It was very clear it was
Yep.
onside. And yeah, the Union just seemed to just kind of put their foot on the throat of New England. It was like, no,
Yeah.
you're not getting up.
Yeah.
This is our game. You're
Mhm.
not going to get it back into this. I don't even remember any serious attacks from New England after the Union scored.
The quote shortly after that was New England playing under significant duress, which I appreciated.
What quote? Where was that quote?
One of the commentators.
Yeah.
So I put it in my notes because not every day you hear the word duress.
Yeah, right.
Soccer commentary.
But it was stunning how much stoppage time there was in this game. I think the first half was a long 4 minutes,
Yeah.
and then the second half was 10
10 minutes.
10, which made no sense. It didn't. Somebody was down. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but someone was down for a bit, but
Yeah.
not 10 minutes. 10
Yeah,
minutes
he only
is when someone has a significant problem,
Yeah,
usually.
medical staff is needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before stoppage time, he had only given out 2 yellow cards. It really hadn't gotten chippy. It's not like he had a whole lot of stoppages to deal with. I mean, there was some pushing, there was some jawing, but it
Yeah.
wasn't significant. I don't know where the 10 minutes came from either.
Yeah. Well, speaking of yellow cards, so Baribo got a yellow card. Again,
Yeah.
not
Right after his
too
goal.
typical. I mean, he's not, no one's really Latu level of not getting yellow cards.
Right.
But, Baribo, Gazdag, I was a little surprised they got yellow cards, but I mean, they are what they are.
The only thing that's going to slow down Ty's scoring at this point is too many yellow cards.
Yeah, and then shortly thereafter, Baribo was subbed out for Bedoya. So Bedoya
Yeah,
came
it
in.
was good to see Ali get back on the field.
And so what do you guys think? Was that sub more of a hey, we're up 1-0, we're at like 80th minute, so let's kind of park the bus? I mean, I'm not saying Ali doesn't have the legs to get goals, but
It was 3 minutes after the yellow card, and
yeah.
maybe if Bradley Carnell saw Baribo getting a little worked up, he wanted to pull him off the field before he did something stupid and got a second yellow.
Yeah, maybe.
That's exactly what I thought. It just did something stupid or just had a call go against him or anything. I think because you don't want to lose him for the next game. I mean,
Yeah.
Or ever.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, takes a lot more to lose him on accumulation than on a red card or
Yeah.
A
double yellow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my thought. Is it was strange that he was taken out, but that made sense when I thought about it a bit more.
I mean, I
And
felt
same with Gazdag too.
yeah.
Eventually,
And maybe that was also why he did pull Gazdag then
Yeah.
in the 90th minute.
same
Yeah.
reason.
And
I'm
I
almost convinced. Yeah.
I was okay with that. I was like, yeah, protect those guys. Let's not do
Maybe-
something stupid here.
Maybe Carnell pulled Baribo off the side and says, "Hey, look, this is what happens when you get yellow cards as a forward. I'm going to pull you off and put the other guy in."
No hat trick for you.
Yep.
It did make me nervous though, because I mean, I understood it and I don't quibble with it, but it did make me nervous because there were a lot of folks who I'm sure played together in training and preseason games and such, but a lot of unknown combination quantities out on the field, at least to us as viewers and fans. So I was a little nervous.
But we didn't have to be that nervous.
No.
Because I guess our second favorite Drexel Dragon came in for Gazdag.
In the 90th minute, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
we got
Jen
another
did
goal.
graduate from Drexel as well. So.
Right, so it goes Jen,
I was just waiting
Donovan,
to see that
Paul.
one there, Christy.
I've quoted Christy here.
Yeah, but yeah, that then the Union got another well worked
Yeah,
attack deep into stoppage time. But it was good to see Bedoya getting out to the right side to
yeah,
receive the ball and
yeah,
finding Vassilev in the box, and then Vassilev getting his head up and seeing Lukic, with looking exactly the right way
yeah.
and just plays a
Just
back pass to Lukic, who takes one touch and then
again,
just yeah, really nice shot. Not quite as laser as Martinez's goal against Orlando,
mhm.
No.
but well curved right into the side, right into the right side upright,
Yep.
and into the goal. And Lukic, Lukic, that celebration was just so genuine. I mean, I know he's
Yeah.
only been here for a few months, but man, like the whole team celebrating with him,
Yeah,
it just was, it looked like they were having a great time.
yeah.
Oh, even afterwards, they were still like running up to him and hugging him, and
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Allie was losing his mind.
Yeah,
It was great.
And that was not only Lukic's first goal, but then that was Vasilev's first assist
that's right.
um,
For the Union,
for the Union. For the Union,
Correct.
exactly. And Bedoya also got an
a
assist.
secondary assist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it just felt so well and deliberately executed.
Yep.
Bedoya saw Vasilev, crossed it into him. Like you said, Vasilev saw Lukic coming in, just laid the ball at his feet. It was just, yeah, I love seeing those orchestrated, calculated goals
It was
that
good
go
to
into
see.
the net.
Right. Lukic had been playing so well all three of these games, but he really seemed to come into this one a lot,
Yeah.
getting forward a ton. He's just doing a great job. A lot of his passes are aggressive. They're attacking plays, and yeah, it was just wonderful to see him get that goal, take that shot, and make it count. And thanks, Mister Right Up Right. Thank you again.
Yeah, man. Man of the match right there.
12th man.
Well,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah. And Union walk away 2-0.
Yeah.
I mean, this is great. I mean, I almost don't want to even talk about it. I just don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, I
Well,
know. Because I think we were talking about it, and it was pretty sure it was beginning of last season where we were the last undefeated team,
Right.
last team to lose.
Exactly.
last team to
Undefeated.
lose. But that, of course, that wasn't all wins. That was
Yeah.
ties
Correct.
Yeah.
and victories.
Yes.
Um, so this is better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a silly thing to say, but there it is. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Paul, right?
remarkable.
We're coming up on your 5 game kind of barometer benchmark, right? We got you've been saying like we're going to need at least 5 games to see what this team is all about,
Mhm.
what their
Hmm.
mojo is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so what's the trajectory you see us on in terms I'm not worried about like records, just how's it going so far for you?
In my opinion, the team has bought into the approach. They're looking dangerous. They're making the most of this pressing style of gameplay. They are being clinical with their finishes for the most part. There were a couple of shots that could have been better. I believe both Aura and Gajdag over this 3 game stretch have had some pretty open looks at goal that they've missed.
Mhm.
So there's definitely some room for polishing.
I mean, in
But
the New England game too, Gazdag had that shot that he just missed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, there's definitely room to polish, but the team, again, I mean, I hate to harp on it. They're playing and having fun.
Yeah.
They're playing the game. And when they do that, when they don't get in their own heads about the competition, the results come. And this 3 game stretch has just shown it that they just play for each other. They play to have a good time, and they play hard. They play very hard, but they
Yeah.
play as a team, and good things have happened. If they can keep that up, we could be looking at a very successful season.
Yeah.
Like you said, this is 3 games.
Early
I said
days.
at least. Sorry, Chrissy.
It's early days. I'm disagreeing with you.
Yeah, it's 3 games in. It is a very long season. They play a very high stamina style of game. So, right now 29 degrees out that they're playing in, and
Right.
this weekend it's going to be in like 50 or 60 when they play in Philly. We'll see what happens when it's 80, 90 degrees outside and they're still chasing after the ball this hard.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens come, early September, and they've got 27 games on their legs. And
Mm,
how much rotation does Carnell actually get to work into the process? Those things are going to matter.
yeah.
Hopefully he's learned something from his second year in St. Louis. Hopefully the union's medical staff is in good shape to track these guys so that they can keep playing at a very high level. But yeah, right now I really am enjoying the way they're playing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really are.
And one big advantage, whether you want to think of it as that or not, again, and I know we've talked about it, but is not having so many side tournaments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that I think will help us with some of those things. I mean, there's still going to be obstacles to overcome regardless, but I
Yeah.
think that will help, hopefully.
Because
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Champions League is going on right now, so those
Mhm.
teams are navigating, negotiating, right? Playing those games as well as the regular
That's right.
season.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely wade into Cincinnati's approach to their games, I'm sure.
absolutely, yeah. Um, I'll take the hit on this one. We have another quote from Scoops, who basically said that this feels like a very different team, and I would agree with that. I mean, it's a different team that has a
Playing
similar
differently as
or
well.
familiar spirit to it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Not different enough that she didn't want the package. So I'm still interested in watching.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, scoops is scoops.
Scoops of
mhm,
scoops.
mhm.
So I think
Well,
it's
so Kai now holds the union record for assists.
yeah. Oh, the
So,
record for the assist.
the
Wow.
union record
The union record. Yeah, sure.
for assists. Yes.
He just
So
broke it?
apparently.
Huh.
So who's in second? Do you know?
Oh, don't ask me that.
I don't know. I'll be honest. If I had to guess, assists, um, it's gonna be like a Union Dome question.
Right?
Second assists, who would it be? Yeah. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's just throw it out to our audience. If you know who has the second most assists for the Union,
We can't
drop.
find it.
Yeah, we can't find it. So drop us an email at pod@amorephillyunion.com.
Or
Um,
DM us on our socials
yeah,
or comment on any of our posts.
yeah. Uh, And we'll be sure to give you a
Be
proper
nice.
shout out, accolades. Um, we'll put you out on a wall of honor of some sort for helping us out. So related to all this, right? This Ty Baribo goal scoring extravaganza and the very often link up with Kai Wagner, aka the Kai-Tai, which I'm sure other people have come up with this one themselves. It's fairly low-hanging fruit. However, I'm going to live in the fantasy world and just kind of hang our hat on that one. That
Mhm.
um, it was great after the game, doing some player interviews, and they interviewed Kai Wagner, just asking questions. Of course, that's what they do, about the goal. So let's go to that audio. This is great.
All right, Kai, in that first goal, you got the assist there. Can you walk us through the play?
I think it was a cross. Frankie saw me out there again, and I just know that I can whip the balls pretty good in, and just whipped it in. Ty was in the right spot. I don't know if he got the goal, but I mean, doesn't matter who scores the goal. I mean, we won the game, and so that's important.
How has your role changed, if at all, under Bradley Carnell?
Not a lot. I can still go a lot forward, but I like it really, like how we press together, how we fight with each other. You saw it on every play, that every fight, what we just won, everybody celebrate with each other at the end. Frankie made a big play for us, and the whole team is just together in the moment. The whole team is willing to work, and the whole team has just a mentality to go all in.
and Ty scored off that cross. He scored a lot already this season. Has he always had this in him, or is this a product of the new system and opportunity?
I mean, it's good deliveries from me, first of all. So, Ty has a good instinct in the moment. I think he's on the right spot in the moment. He has a great run. He just needs to continue. I'm happy that I can help him. I mean, everybody talks about a Kai-Tai plays in the moment. I hope it's just keep going and we're rolling.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so that just tickled me when he mentioned the Kai-Tai. It's like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So in the spirit of that, I have come up with a Kai-Tai beverage.
Oh yeah, you were
Oh.
talking about this, but
Yeah.
I'm curious.
So
Mhm.
this is inspired by pandemic Halloween. We actually, in our town, if you wanted to participate in giving out treats for Halloween, you had to do it from your driveway or front porch or something like that, be outdoors, basically. So it turned into a bit of a block party at our place, and our neighbors down the street served a drink that is the basis for this. So this is actually not so much a
Our neighbor
cocktail
likes to
as a
drink wine.
shot. If you want to make it a little classier, you could, I suppose, call it a cordial.
Oh, okay.
But it is
Pinky's up.
one part arak, which is an Israeli liqueur that is anise flavored. So I don't know if I just lost you two there.
Depends. It
Combined
depends.
with one part Bärenjager, which
Yeah.
is a
Bear hunter.
yes, German honey flavored liqueur.
Ooh.
To form the name of the drink that the Kai-Tai Stinger.
There you go.
If that's what our neighbors called it. It was a stinger. If you look up stinger, it's something else, but that's what they called it. So that is the Kai-Tai Stinger. Enjoy at your own risk. But I will say I did try our neighbor's version, and it's incredibly warming, very good for
Yes.
a cold night in
Yeah.
Foxborough. So enjoy that if you like the flavor of anise, which I know is very polarizing, but there you
Gonna have
go.
to have one on handy, like watching games, and then when they score, you enjoy. Or we use it for whenever we make a replacements reference, and that'll be our drink of the podcast.
I will say amorephillyunion does not claim any responsibility for what happens to you
Yes.
if you try the Kai-Tai Stinger.
Enjoy responsibly.
Enjoy responsibly. That's right.
That's awesome. Honestly, we should try to make one. I'll be
The
right back.
Bärenjager sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Honey liqueur.
Honey liqueur.
Yeah. And I'm always in for something that's anise flavored, but again, that's not everybody's thing. So
That's cool. We'll have to see if anybody whips one up out there, how they liked it.
What were the measurements?
Yeah.
basically equal parts. So I just, half and half.
Okay.
Down the
Half
hatch.
and half. Anise
Yeah.
liqueur and honey liqueur.
Honey liqueur.
I know when
I would try it.
it doesn't sound good, but it is good. Or at least the
Very cool.
version I had, which
Yeah.
admittedly probably used I'm gonna guess Sambuca, but
Yeah, those were
So.
pretty good actually.
mm.
Cool. Well, thanks for
That's
for
my
coming up with that.
suggestion. If you
There-
guys have any other ideas, again,
Yeah.
please let us know. We would love to hear it.
I think that is a good recipe to christen the Kai-Tai as. So that's the amorephillyunion's Kai-Tai recipe. Official. We'll put it on the website.
Maybe that'll be the graphic for this week's pod.
Yeah. Enjoy responsibly.
With a disclaimer. Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
One of the other cool things about this match was the post-match interview with Carnell, and I know it was being streamed. I don't know if you watched it on YouTube or whatever, but as soon as we turned it on, it was Jillian from the One Team We Agree On with her question,
Yeah.
which was really cool to hear. So yeah, congrats, Jillian. That was awesome. It was great. We're like, hey, I know who that is.
That was very cool to hear. Very cool that we could pick her out that quickly too.
Yeah.
I will say this was the first match in which Carnell sported Union gear. I guess it was cold enough
Oh,
to wear
yeah.
a Union,
Yeah.
like it's essentially a ski jacket,
Little
puffer, however
puffer.
you want to
Yeah.
think of it. By the second half, he was in a hat and a
Yeah.
thicker jacket, also Union as well, which goes against what everything I said about him not being a hat man. I guess needs must. So
Well, it was cool
every
seeing.
everybody's a hat person when it's 20 odd
Oh
degrees.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool seeing him and Caleb Porter on the sideline. I think it's when it might have been early in the game when uh,
Campagna was
was
down.
down, and they were just standing next to each other, having a nice, friendly little chit chat. And but they were both wearing the same Adidas,
Yeah,
puffer jacket. Um, all right, so wow, 3-0. Who would have thought? Team of the match day. We have a couple feathers in
Yeah,
our
a
cap.
couple of awards, a couple of acknowledgments.
Hmm.
Obviously, yeah, it was good to see. Um, so I guess if you're stopping, I'll just go.
Yeah, you got it, Paul. You take it.
Yeah, no, Kai, gets another man of the, or honor of being a part of the team of the week, and newcomer Lukic
Hmm.
got selected as well. I guess Baribo had been up too many times, so that his one goal wasn't good enough to get him in. But yeah, it was good to see both Kai and Lukic get recognized for what they did against New England.
Yeah. And in terms of the league, man, there's just a lot of blue and gold all over the league stats now, right? Baribo leads in the Golden Boot. Again, early days, right? 6 goals. But the next closest, I think, to second place only has 3 goals.
right.
And then Kai leads with the assists, with 4 assists. And yeah, and then just overall club stats, Union's in first, both obviously for most goals with 10, and most assists, 13. So early days, but you know what? I'm going to enjoy this while we got it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So I think we mentioned earlier that Philly and Vancouver are the only teams that have not yet lost or drawn a game. And there are 5 undefeated teams, meaning that they have lost or drawn all of their first matches. So it's Philly and Vancouver are fully undefeated, while Miami, Columbus, and San Diego are undefeated, but with draws.
Okay.
So
Draws and wins, I guess.
draws and wins.
Yeah.
Two wins, one draw
Yeah.
apiece.
Yeah.
So in good company,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Mhm.
And props to San Diego, brand new team this year,
Oh,
coming out
yeah.
pretty strong.
Yeah.
So,
The upset against LA Galaxy,
yeah.
who I believe they set a record. They're the first MLS Cup winner to lose their first 3 matches of the following season,
Wow.
because they
Yeah.
played St. Louis Sunday night, and we tuned in for that one, and that was another kind of a locked, 0-0 game, and then the dam broke in favor of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was watching casually, so I don't have notes for that like I do for our, union games, but they did lose or trade a lot of players
Hmm.
in the off season. So
And they got a very high concentration, it feels like, of German players on St. Louis's team now. We're looking through the lineup like,
yeah,
oh, from Germany. Oh, from Germany. Oh, from Germany.
yeah, because German last name could mean anything,
Yeah.
but we were checking. It was like, huh, look at that.
Yeah.
And Thor, as you say, Thor is their coach.
You said it was Thor's. No, it was Twelman who
Twelman,
called him
yeah.
Thor.
I was gonna say it
Yeah.
wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have Thor as their head coach. So yeah, not a bad way to go.
Nope.
All right. So with this win from last weekend, Union move on to the game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, so this weekend it's Union versus Nashville at home.
Mhm.
Sunday at about 2:30. I don't know, so 2:25 to 2:30, whatever it takes.
Yeah, right.
In the afternoon. So hopefully it'll be in a good warm part of the day since it's
Mhm.
been fairly nice recently. Unusual time, but we'll take it. It's also Dollar Dog Day, which we're
Dollar
all big fans of.
Dog Day.
playing against Nashville in 10th place right now. A win, a lose, a draw, a loss, a draw. So I guess we'll see. It's early days. I'm not counting anybody out.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not counting us fully in.
Mm-hmm.
We are not counting
Um,
this chicken before it is hatched.
There you
Yes.
go.
No, but you got to like the chances for sure.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, the Nashville from I haven't read a ton on them, but it sounds like Hani Mukhtar is struggling a little bit this start of this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
Uh,
not getting full playing time.
so we'll have to see if the Union can continue to make Philadelphia, Subaru Park a fortress this year.
Yeah.
We all hope that it is.
Turn to it,
And
really, because last year we weren't doing as well at home, were
Yeah.
we?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you gotta like our chances though. Definitely like the chances
absolutely.
that they keep winning and the team does a good job and if they can just keep enjoying a game and playing like they're having fun,
Yeah.
I think good things will happen for them.
So is that kind of what you're hoping for this game, or anything
Yeah,
more specific than that, or just keep the good times going?
I think they keep the good times going, and I wouldn't mind seeing a little more rotation. I don't know if the
Mm.
starting lineup necessarily needs this change,
Yeah.
but like Vassilev came in and got 25 minutes, 35 minutes with stoppage time in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe see if he wants to run out in place of either Sullivan Quinn or
Yeah.
Gazdag to start and get them have 60 minutes of time and bring the other one on as a second half sub. Also, if Damiani's ready to start, give Aura a chance to come in off the bench and, go after some tired legs for the
Yeah,
last
really
30 minutes of the game. That could be
punish
interesting.
punish his tired defensive lines. Yeah.
And then as far as defense, I mean, obviously nobody's going to pull Blake out of goal,
Mhm.
not unless there's a international reason for it. So Westfield, whether or not Westfield keeps playing there or if Harriel comes back on, will be an interesting one to watch. And then I guess the last one is whether or not Jan Glavinovic is going to be able to supplant Makanya there in that other center midfield spot. There's no rush on that one in my opinion.
And he's listed, I think, with a hamstring issue. I don't know how bad of an injury it is, if it's questionable. So yeah, that's another factor.
Let it
We may
heal
have to
up.
wait a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think right now the team is carrying enough water, they can handle this. So if a player's not at 100%, hopefully that it gives them the opportunity just to fully rest up.
Yeah, I
Oh,
agree. I agree.
Christy, anything you want to see?
Um, no, just another win. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Just
Keep
win.
it simple.
Yeah.
I do think that Ura's fresh legs is like, I know Jillian talked about that when they were on our pod. Just as a
Mhm.
something to think about for this season. I think that would be a nice use of his talents. Because I do think sometimes as a starter, I don't know. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't feel like he always makes the difference he could. So maybe fresh legs it would be a
Yeah.
good use of his talents. So it'd be interesting to see if they do try something like that.
Yeah, that super sub strategy.
The other thing I would also like to keep an eye on, and I this might have just been something I noticed, but Damiani seems to have maybe a short fuse. Maybe he was just cold.
Mm.
I don't know. But
Regretting not wearing long sleeves.
yeah, but it seemed like if he had been in a little longer, maybe there would have been a card happening because I don't know, he seemed a little bit testy. Who knows? Maybe there's something going on specific to that game, but I'd be curious to see how that plays out over the season as well.
Yeah.
No Martinez levels, but still.
But it did take Martinez like a season or so to realize what he could and could not get away with.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Game-less referees.
Yeah, he kind of leveled off after a while. But
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if Indiana gets a start. That might be kind of an interesting tactic change.
mhm.
We're
I did
coming
have
up
something.
also on the international windows. And so, like, I know that Danley's going to get called up for Haiti. I would expect Blake's going to get called up
Yeah.
for Jamaica. There might be some other players for the Union that might not be available. Looking at you, Mr. Baribo.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Definitely not. Yeah.
yeah, make use of them while we have them, and then make plans for who's going to take over. Like I could see Choo Choo Bueno
Oh, yeah.
stepping in for Danley.
Yeah.
Rick, Andrew Rick getting an opportunity to play, and that would be interesting.
hmm
And then, of course, up top right now, you kind of got the three, Baribo, Aura, and Damiani. And if one of them's out, you got to imagine the other two are the starters.
Mm.
Here's a dumb question. Has Harriel gotten any game time yet this season?
He's been injured. He's been
Yeah,
injured.
right. That's what I thought.
No,
Okay.
he has not gotten any game
Yeah.
time. Although he was warming up with them on the sideline when Lukic scored when Ty scored, because when Ty ran over, I saw Harriel, in the crowd of Union players, celebrating with the team.
Yeah.
That's good. Total side question here, but do we have any idea why Danley goes by Danley on his jersey and not his name
Because
is Stanley
Jean-Jacques doesn't fit, I guess.
Oh, they could make it fit. If they can fit Aristeguieta,
Yeah, right.
I guess maybe it's just a preference thing. I mean, I know there are some rules because I remember Orozco Fiscal.
Yeah, Roscoe Fiscal.
There was some rule that was preventing him from using Orozco, and then he thought there was, and then he found out
hmm
that he could go by that because that's what he preferred to go by. So then I believe he switched to just Orozco instead of Orozco Fiscal.
Yeah, they may have some
so,
discretion as to how they want to have their names show on the
Yeah.
back of their jerseys.
Yeah. Okay, I was just wondering if anybody it's just more of a curiosity question than anything that was salient to play. But yeah.
Trying to
So-
remember other players who had long last names like Eskandarian or Lorenowitz was another one. I think that one kind of shoulder to shoulder. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna find out if
We'll find out.
if we're gonna be a 4-0 team in a few days. So
Just a quick note from our longtime listener, Nate.
Superfan Nate.
Who wrote in to say that the MLS app has been revamped. I've been checking it out too. I just played around with it a little bit. I think he's done more with it than I have, but it has a lot of new features. We are not getting paid in any way, shape, or form to say this, but yeah, so it's worth checking out. It does seem like they have some interesting new stuff on there. So I, like I said, haven't looked at it a lot, but he recommended it, and so I'm passing along that recommendation, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So
Cool. All right. Well, if you want to join on the conversation, you can find us on our website, amorephillyunion.com. Hey, send us your questions, either email or you can contact us on socials. Instagram's a good one to send us messages. Hey, send us a cool question and we'll be sure to include it on the pod. Give you a little bit of a shout out too. So you can email us at pod@amorephillyunion.com. On Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Bluesky, we are a More Philly Union. And you want to break from the chat and want to listen to some tunes, we got our eclectic Spotify playlist under a More Philly Union as well. Download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours. And while you're at it, go show some love to one of our favorite forces for good in the Unionverse. Go check out the Philadelphia Union Foundation at philadelphiaunionfoundation.org. So thanks everyone for tuning in to another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm C.
And I'm Paul. Go
Union. Dating back to 18th century Germany, this honey liqueur recipe was formulated to lure bears out of their dwellings by hunters. Originally called Barenfang or bear trap, this drinkable honey was not only enticing to the bear, but soon became the drink of choice to the bear hunter as well. And for what it's worth, I probably should have mentioned this. It is kosher.
Oh.